my regular battle with my microphone continues. Or it's just me being OCD or whatever like that. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Arthur. You are at Apologia Center. Weekly live Q&A. It is Friday. Almost 1:50. And we're just getting going. Well, that's partly because starting next week, ladies and gentlemen, we will not be going live at 1 o'clock. Starting Monday, I have decided, and it took me this week to decide this. Starting Monday, we will be going on at 2 p.m. I'm trying to be a lot more gracious and friendlier to the East Coast folks. Go ahead and hit that like button. I know I haven't dropped it in there that you should be hitting it. The poll's not up just yet, but hit that like button anyways. It's always helpful. I was trying to start on time, but I couldn't. Man, I'm a mess today. I think it's going to take me a couple of minutes to get going. I just rushed in here and sat in and I was like, let's go. So I haven't gone through my normal routine. Like, I'm running late. Let's do it. But I couldn't. Man, life is hilarious. There you are. See, guys? See the stuff I have to go through? Wires and... so annoying. I hate wires. And I really, really, really wish that Rodecaster, the software and hardware I'm using for audio, which has built-in Bluetooth already. So I can connect my phone to it. I can do all sorts of stuff to it. Would somehow make it possible where I can connect my AirPods to monitor my audio and actually listen to you guys when you guys call in and we're having the conversations. For some reason, it doesn't. And I don't know why. So, what's up, Radioactive Trees? I'm on break right now. Be back in an hour. Hope you guys have a good Friday. Hey, you too. Alpha, what's up? Deanna, what's going on? Bob, what's up? No glasses. No, I have glasses. I was just cleaning them. Just cleaning them. Hey, what up, Carl? How you doing? Got 10 people in here, but only 6 people have hit the like button. Come on now. Hey, Arnold, what's up? what I'm going through in Armenian is called tap. It's it's everywhere. Disorganized would be the proper terminology there. Lex, what's going on? Vicente, what's up? Hello, Pat. What's up, man? Okay, I got my. I'm opening up my Bible software. It's already open. Logos was updated. Let's restart it. Logos was updated, which means I gotta restart the app. What up, Justin? What is the order of Melchizedek? Um, there is no order of Melchizedek. I don't think that's an actual thing that the author of Hebrews is talking about. What he means is like Melchizedek, in the likeness of Melchizedek. Hey, Saparado, what's up, man? Amen to that, man. Amen. I was actually going to do some research on your behalf and get you some articles from my perspective. Let me actually send you, I'm going to text you this, Carl. This disagrees with both of us. Hey, what up, Jason? What's going on? Hi, Jay. You got people dropping in. Hit that like button. Drop a comment before, say below. Say hello. It's a short paragraph. No topic, man. It's a live Q&A. So I'm eating Chick-fil-A. Maybe we can debate if In-N-Out or Chick-fil-A is better. You can't compare In-N-Out to Chick-fil-A. That makes no sense. Chick-fil-A is a chicken sandwich place. That's assuming you like chicken. Are you gonna compare that to In-N-Out, where you eat beef? Don't do that. I am Look, I like the Chick-fil-A sandwiches, but I'm not like, I don't think they're that special. I really don't think Chick-fil-A is that special. I'm not. I remember the first time I had Chick-fil-A, I was with a bunch of Christians, and they were like, "Bro, you gotta have Chick-fil-A. It's the greatest chicken sandwich X, Y, and Z." I was like, "Cool. This is some white thing that I'm not familiar with," and so we went. We went to Chick-fil-A. We sat down and ate it, and I felt bad telling them this is pretty average chicken sandwich. You know, here's the thing, man. I'm gonna. Oh, I'm about to say some stuff that might possibly offend some people. Are you guys okay with that? Are you guys okay with me offending you? Um, I I gotta think about this. I have a little theory as to why I think specifically white Christians like Chick-fil-A. Can anybody guess what my theory is? I gave you enough hints already. I might even say like why Americans like Chick-fil-A. Why would Americans like Chick-fil-A? And think it's like the best chicken sandwich or whatever like that. Dude, you want to eat spicy chicken sandwich? There's a lot of spicy chicken sandwich places in this area that have amazing spicy chicken sandwiches. Way better than Chick-fil-A, in my opinion. Well, I think Americans, and specifically white people, like Chick-fil-A a lot because they have really poor cuisine. Like, they don't have a rich cuisine. They don't have a rich kitchen. What do you guys think? You guys think I'm right or wrong? What's up, David? How you doing? He said because they make some dope chicken sandwiches. Look, it's okay. I'm not gonna say Chick-fil-A has bad chicken sandwiches. It's just like I'm not like, whoa, best chicken sandwich ever. It's not. Where are hamburgers from? Germany. Where's pizza from? Italy. Just saying. Just saying. Even, by the way, and I would say the same thing about British people. And Americans are essentially, right? The descendants of the Brits. They don't have rich food culture, man. And maybe that's why I wasn't that impressed because I'm like, my mom's made better chicken sandwiches. And I eat good food on a regular basis. I eat good barbecue on a regular basis. I'm gonna have good barbecue this Sunday after church at our church hangout. We're gonna have good Armenian barbecue. So where are they both found, America? Thank you. Thank you. White people only like bland stuff and mayo. American cuisine and white people specifically, their food is way like there's no spices in it. Have you tried Indian food? I've never had British food, but it looks absolutely terrible. Shots fired! Shots fired! Bombs dropped! Where's Jerome? He said, this channel never ceases to amaze me. I come in here and you're talking about chicken. We keep you on your toes, bro. But I should say, fish and chips, good fish and chips. That's pretty much what British people have. I think they like the Christian culture of In-N-Out and Chick-fil-A as well. Maybe so, and that's okay, but to think that because it's Christian, therefore it has the best food, it is just, it's sort of dumb. Now, I like In-N-Out. I think In-N-Out is way better than Chick-fil-A. But you can't compare it. I prefer hamburgers over chicken sandwiches. I prefer beef. I prefer steak over a chicken breast. Like, think to yourself, a nice steak or a nice chicken wing or chicken thigh or chicken breast. Nice steak, chicken thigh. Nice steak, chicken breast. Which one do you want? Don't worry, Arthur. I don't need to care about the supposed richness of British food because I have Caribbean and Ethiopian ancestors. Boom! Because you eat good food. So you don't care about the bland stuff. Correct. Correct. You've made my point. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Therefore, God exists. Harissa is a good food. Yeah, I like it. It does taste amazing. It does look weird. I get past the look. Arthur's British xenophobia is influencing his viewers. I don't have xenophobia. Dude, I'm a Liverpool fan. All right, lads. All right, come on. Good food exists because God exists. Done. Shut the stream down. Boom. We're done. Next time you're sitting there eating good Ethiopian food, Jerome, think to yourself, wow, I have taste buds and this food is good. Therefore, God exists. Done. Hey, Saber, we're going to have issues probably soon. Or Jerome's going to be like, hey, I'm a minority and these guys are bullying me. And he's going to say he's a minority in like 80 different ways. Okay. He's like, I'm Caribbean, I'm a minority. I'm Ethiopian, so therefore I'm African. I'm a black man. Like, all these lighter colored fellas are bullying me. I'm British. Hey, would it be fair for the British? And maybe this has been said. This is not like a new idea, I don't think. But like, would it be fair if Jerome was like, I'm an islander because he's British? Like all British people just start identifying as islanders, like, you know, like in the Caribbean, like the way the islanders identify themselves. It's like if the Brits started identifying themselves as that. It is an island. We don't tolerate bullying. Proof that America is not a Christian nation because of our food. I would challenge this by saying if you go to the more religious parts of America in the South, the food is not as bland. Southerners, I think, have pretty decent cuisine, maybe. Jerome, our Twitch followers are saying, hello, governor. There you go. You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm always here to help, man. Congrats on 4.27K. Thanks. We celebrate these on kind of, I have these milestones where we reach them, but I appreciate it. Thank you. So we just passed 2750. What am I saying? 47. 4270. 4250. We just passed 4250. We're at 4275 exactly right now. The number was 4250 to pass. That's the milestone. And then now we're going to look at another 250 coming up. But so 4,500 would be the next bigger milestone. But if we hit 4,300, then it's like, cool, yay, 4,350. Right. And so on and so forth. But it's cool. 4275, guys. In a year, we've gained about 3,000 subscribers. For those who are thinking about doing YouTube, I just want you to know that it takes quite a bit of work. It took us 2 years to get to 1,000 subscribers. And then I started doing what I'm doing now in regards to like daily streams, videos, like really diving into it, collaborations and stuff like that. And 3,000 subscribers, almost to the day, 3,000 subscribers in 1 year. It would be very interesting to see where we will be a year from now. I suspect we're going to be more than 3,000 a year from now. Meaning, if from May to May it took us 3,000, I think from May to next May we're gonna be at like 8,000 or something like that, 9,000. Not, what was it? So 3,000, so not 7,400 or whatever. Maybe even more. Depends on how that goes. You have a special diversity role. I'm from New York, so I can say I'm an islander as well. Yeah, I think 5K would be the big goal. Like we got to hit 5K, right? 5K would be, that's cool, man. And when you consider it, we're not that far off. We're getting pretty decent subscribers the last month, I think. Let me pull up the analytics. Subscribers, we've gotten, last 28 days, we've gotten 138 new subscribers. So that's 1 month. But if we were to look at the last year is 3,000. Okay. Last 90 days, so last 3 months, we've gotten 661. So this is what I mean, right? So if we consider the last 28 days, it's 138. But if you consider the last 90 days, which is 3 months, then you're looking at 200 something average. Okay. Maybe that's a better average to go with than 90 days rather than the 28 days. If we go with the 90 days, we're doing 200 a month. Let's just say 220 a month. So, multiply that into 12 months. And you're looking at another 3,000 or 2,500 to 3,000. Unless something, again, happens where you go kind of viral or something like that. And it just, again, accumulates. But we're doing good, guys. We are doing well. So 2023, we are in the 5th month. Let's see. It's not over the 5th month. 10 days left. We're averaging about 160 new subscribers a month over the last 5 months. April, we had a really, really good subscription month. We almost had 400 new subscribers in April. May, we've had less than that. 65 new subscribers so far. March, we had 174. So April was a good month. What did we do in April? I know what we did. I got to put out more shorts. By the way, I think I'm gonna get a lot of shorter content. Hopefully, I got to look them over because it's been generated. I got to look at over and then see which one of them I can use that we got from our live call-in with Pine Creek. It should be fun. I want some where I can just make fun of them because it's just fun, or just make fun of atheists. Whoa, speaking of Discord, Arthur, why am I allowed to type things in your announcement section on your Discord server? That's probably a bad idea. Huh. Okay, so I am a big novice when it comes to Discord. So anything you guys say is helpful to me. Like, okay, I'll go to overview permission. What should I do? Advanced permission, view channel. I got to get someone to do this stuff for me. Yeah, I'll take care of that, Jerome. I appreciate that. That's a good idea. Nice. They do. They can eat spicy stuff, man. I think Diana asked a question here. That was a serious question I should come back to. I heard that Jesus has become a high priest like Melchizedek and not like a high priest of the Old Testament, Levites, correct? Who needed to cleanse themselves first before atoning for the congregation. Yeah, so the idea there is that Melchizedek predates not only Aaron and Moses, but the Levites. And Jesus is a high priest of this sort in the sense, meaning that he is not like or doesn't need to be in line with the Levites. So he's sort of like above them. And the argument given there is that Abraham gave a tenth of his victories tithed essentially, right, to Melchizedek, where the people of Israel would regularly tithe to the priest. I mean, they would tithe to God, but a portion of that, tenth of that, would go to Sorry, not a tenth, but a portion of that would go to the priests. Ediko, I don't know what you're talking about. You mostly chat with your YouTube buddies. You need dome more definition. Some? It's the views that matter. Maybe so. I'm not. It's actually not, by the way, Deco. It's not the views that matter. If you really want to get and dig into the analytics of YouTube, it is retention that matters. So if you have 100,000 people that watch your video, but they were on your video for 5 seconds, nobody cares. It'll say 100,000 views and nobody cares. So when you go into the back end and then you go to analytics, and then in your analytics, you can actually look at individually by video, right, what the duration is that people stay on your videos. I'll give you an example. Here, I'll put up a video. The interview, not the interview, the little conversation we had with, this is insane, by the way. The conversation I had with Pine Creek. Okay, it says that it has 715 views on my end. I know on the other end it says like more than 1,000 views, but it has 367 hours of watch time. That's a 4-hour stream. So I want to go to reach, engagement, audience. Okay, 640 are unique viewers from that. Engagement, average view duration. It's a 4-hour stream. Average view duration, 30 minutes, 51 seconds. Okay. But that's very, very good. Retention matters quite a bit. This is why when people are giving you advice about YouTube, they'll tell you when you start off your video, like have a hook. You will regularly hear people say in their videos, hey, if you want to know that, you got to stay till the end of this video. Why are they saying that? Why do they put that important stuff that you want to know at the end of their video? Because they want you to watch the entire thing, to watch that end part. They want to keep you on the platform. The algorithm likes that because it gets to show more ads to them. So for an 8-minute video, the algorithm is showing them 2 ads. And in doing so, it looks at it and goes, hey, there's an 8-minute video in there. I can stick 2 ads in there. And then if they're looking at it, it's like, dude, this guy's channel has, let's just say, retention is like through the roof or something. They're going to love it. Your channel is going to do really well. No, YouTube doesn't send you a play button until you hit 100,000 subscribers. You should do a collab with Alan Parr. I'd love to do a collab with Alan Parr. Well, yeah, if you got to look, there was a day where I would go weeks and get 1 subscriber. But that's the whole nature of it, right? You produce more and more content and it'll kind of snowball effect. Hey, I appreciate that. I might take you up on that. No, you don't have to pay to be on Discord. No. Not even going to ask. One of the things that I would like to do, by the way, guys, is if you go to the Discord page, let me see. Let me open it up. If you open up Discord, there's a thing on the bottom that says conversations. One of the things I want to do is, and you can just be on voice, just talk to each other in that, is kind of schedule that where I'm on at a certain time. So I use an AI generator. I use an AI generator for like shorts and stuff. So I throw in like a big giant file, and then it generates a bunch of shorts for me in all sorts of different forms. I threw the video, and a lot of it, like, so if you get 15, 20 videos out of it, you're probably going to end up using like 3, maybe 4 of them. I threw the 4-hour conversation into it. It generated 104 shorts. Hilarious. Thanks, Jerome. I'll look at that. So no questions, huh? Jason, be nice, Jason. Be nice. You should ask my friends at how disappointed and angry I was at LeBron James yesterday. I haven't watched basketball in a long time. It's frustrating watching this guy play. It is very frustrating watching LeBron James play. Pulls up, 2-point game, just randomly shoots a 3-pointer, misses. 2 plays later, comes and does the same thing, misses. Doesn't even pass the ball. Does the same thing, misses. It's like, dude, that's 9 points. Pass the ball. Both the games that the Lakers have lost, in my opinion, have been LeBron's fault. So, well done, Nuggets. I heard someone say Jesus is our brother because we are all children of God. Would that be considered blasphemy? No, it wouldn't be blasphemy. If we mean it in the sense that we all are, the Bible calls Jesus our brother, so there's no issues there. One of the things is that, like, Jesus is our brother in our humanity. Like, the creeds all say this. The scriptures very clearly testify to the fact that Jesus is like us in every way, yet without sin. So he is our brother. He's our actually brother in the resurrection. He's the firstborn of the resurrection. He's the forerunner. But he is also God. So it depends on how we're using the brother. And it's sort of like the way that people refer to children of God. All human beings are children of God in the sense that they are all created by God, and therefore humanity altogether, we're all children of God. But in another sense, in Christian theology, not everyone is a child of God, obviously, because there are those who are rebellious, who all of us at one point we were rebellious towards God. This is Ephesians chapter 2. And that we who are believers in Christ are his actual children, or some people would say, and scripture says this, adopted children. So people need to qualify. I just immediately wouldn't jump the gun and say, oh, it's blasphemous. It's not, unless they're actually using that to say something blasphemous. So they could say, Jesus is our brother because X, Y, and Z, and because he's our brother, he's not God. That's blasphemy. Mike, what do you think? Or Mike's asking, what's up, Mike? Sorry, man, our conversation got cut short yesterday. I hope you understand. What do you think is the best evidence or argument for God's existence? Sometimes I flip-flop on this, by the way. What do I think is the best evidence or argument for God's existence? Let's just say argument. Generally speaking, I think the best argument for God's existence. So hard to pick. One that I've liked a lot more, it would be an argument from consciousness. I think an argument from consciousness leads us in certain ways, in certain directions that can get us to God pretty quickly. But again, There's been times where I've thought any form of a cosmological argument is a good argument for God's existence, or might be the best. I think that I actually, as a matter of fact, I would say an argument for God's existence from the problem of evil is a decent argument. What's up, Keanu? How you doing, man? Hello. I don't know what this comment is about, but okay. So, comment from Twitch: the best evidence of God's existence is the fact that a painting can exist without a painter. So this is a design argument. So what you're saying is that the best argument for God's existence is the teleological argument for God's existence. And some people actually think the teleological argument is the best argument. A design argument is the best argument, and that's fine. I think to a certain extent this is subjective. Jerome, tomorrow you're an Aston Villa fan. More focused on Man United right now, hoping they form the next 2 games so I win the bet next Thursday. Are United's games away? I think they've lost a bunch of their away games recently. Man, I hope they lose. Guys, first and foremost, I don't want to shave. So I don't want Jerome to win. But it would be really cool for Liverpool just to come back. Oh, they're playing Chelsea at home. So if Chelsea can get a tie in that game and United can lose to Bournemouth, dude, United might possibly tie Chelsea, tie Fulham. I think they'll get us through. If they tie 2 of their remaining 3 games, they'll have 68 points. No, sorry. If they die to the 68, 71. Liverpool winning their next 2 will be 68, 71. If United tie their 2 games and win 1, they'll have 71 points. If Liverpool win their next 2 games, we'll have 71 points, and we will be in 4th place by goal difference. What you're saying is that it's still possible. Oh, this is going to go to the wire. Imagine just United loses to Bournemouth. Oh, man. That'd be so amazing. Come on, Bournemouth. I believe in you. Can't believe Newcastle beat Brighton that easy. Aston Villa's playing really, really good. Yeah, we do. We do have to beat them. That's true. If Liverpool lose, then it's over. Even a tie, it's over. So, Jerome, you don't really have to wait. Like, if Liverpool lose to Villa or they tie Villa tomorrow, it's done. I might have to shave my beard by Monday. Hey, what's up? Do you think the Shroud of Turin is a good piece of evidence for Christ's existence? I'm not sure. I haven't looked at the shroud and done like shroud research. I did have a private conversation about the shroud with Dr. Gary Habermas, who's done quite a bit of research into the shroud and has had close friends who've worked on the shroud itself. And he told me that he's about 80% sure that the shroud is the real deal. I'm just repeating what he's told me. So I just can't. I'm agnostic on the subject. I tend to not like be hopeful over stuff like that. It is a weird anomaly. What I can say is I've done the appropriate research for and against. Sorry, I was leaning in and my back is hurting. For and against the shroud. I haven't done that. I haven't like looked at folks saying, here's how that's possible, right? Here's how it can possibly be that this is some kind of an X-ray sort of thing. I can lean back and maybe do this. My back's hurting, guys. We don't have enough technology today that would have caused the image to be transferred onto the cloth. It took a high amount of energy. Now, I know I've heard these things, Diana. I have. I know sort of what the positives are and what people argue for, kind of. What I'm saying is I haven't seen the opposite research. I haven't seen the people saying, no, it can't be that because X, Y, and Z. I'm drinking coffee and I'm still like weird. I want to role play as an atheist against the cosmological argument. Sure. I'm cool with that. We can look at it. Yeah, I don't know about this. Again, Jason. Maybe so. How do you want to role play that? Mike? I need to get something. I need to get like an extension for my chair where it just there's a mouse like so I can sit further away. Then I have to reach to use my mouse. Or but I don't like using this. I can just put this on my lap. What do I think about Rabbi Singer? Is this Tovai Singer? Is that what's his name? Is that the right guy I'm thinking about? Is that how I see it? Hey, Ruslan's on. We should crash his channel. Like we should. What is it called? Channel something. Tovia. Yeah, I haven't heard much from him. I've seen some stuff from him. So I can't comment. If that's what you're talking about, yeah. Here's an interesting video. Maybe we can look at this right now. It's 22 minutes. It's too much. Has Michael Brown had debates with Tovia Singer? Mm-hmm. Ooh, those are old. Your friend Ruslan confused me so much, honestly. I've never seen someone run a YouTube channel like that. Like what? He runs it good, man. Like it's phenomenal. Like the amount of work that goes into what he does for his channel. But it's the thing. It's fully monetized. Like that's what he does for a living. All I don't want to say all, but he gets quite a bit of support from Patreon, plus YouTube ad revenue. And so he's able to have a team around him and editors and Zach, who's in there working all day, man. Like that's a 9 to 5 for Zach. So props. I've learned quite a bit from Ruslan. And so nature, the nature of the content you're producing matters, but like doing long streams and chopping stuff up into like a 20-minute video. I think the best one that we did recently was the reaction videos I did on Wednesday, where I was able to get 2 videos out of that and then put that out. That's the way that Ruslan does it. The thing that Ruslan does that I don't do, and I might do in the future, is that when he does these after party streams, he gets rid of them after the stream. After the stream, it's delisted. I think it's only there for patrons, and then he'll cut out. But he's very planned. Again, as a team, they work together in regards to coming to the different contents they got to react to. Kind of, it creates itself, right? Like the content creates itself. There's so much stuff that you can react to and talk about. So, but what a lot of people don't know is kind of the trajectory and how it got there and all that stuff. So what? Like we did a reaction video. Let me actually look at it. So we did a reaction video that was live. Why is my Thursday stream? Something in my Thursday stream is not suitable for most advertisers. So the reaction video we did on Wednesday altogether was viewed 98 times. I unlisted that and then got the 2 videos out of that that have to do with the AI stuff and then the demonic stuff, which have individually gotten, one of them's gotten 125 views and the other one's gotten 260 views. So that tells you how you can take long form, do the long form, have your live viewers watching that stuff, and then create shorter form and then have even more people watching that. It's great. Hey, Christian. I know what's going on. It's all good. That Sean guy from yesterday was legendary. Sean was fun to have a conversation with. Oh, no. That would be a disaster. Keanu, what do you think of the holy fire ceremony? Do you believe they're performing miracles? What is that? Keanu, I don't even know what that is, man. Can I search this on YouTube? That sounds like some creepy stuff. Holy fire ceremony. Oh, the Orthodox stuff. As far as I know, I don't think this has to do anything with miracles or whatever, but let's look at it. This is an Easter thing, but okay, hang on. That guy's Armenian. Armenians, bro, they're everywhere. Armenians are everywhere. By the way, that guy's yelling in Armenian. Christ is risen from the dead. I actually didn't know Armenians participated in this. I thought it's only Eastern Orthodox folks that did this. So, hey, there I'm learning something. Do I think Christ is lighting this fire? I'd highly doubt it. But let's look at it.
Every year in Jerusalem, on the eve of Orthodox Easter Sunday, Jesus Christ shows up inside the Church of the Holy Sepulchre during the ceremony of Holy Fire. Christ is present, but only the blue incandescent light of his eternal glory is visible. Thousands of Christians from all over the world have traveled to Jerusalem and cram inside the church on Holy Saturday, waiting in anticipation for the light which will turn to fire on a holy oil lamp that is sitting on the rock bed where Christ was laid upon his death. Occasionally, the light of Christ will spontaneously light candles of individual pilgrims in the church, or even candles that are hanging outside the edicule. During the ceremony, the Greek Orthodox Patriarch enters the shrine which is built over top the cave tomb, and kneeling beside the bed where Christ was laid, he prays an ancient prayer that has been passed down to him. When the holy light turns to fire on the lamp, he lights 2 sets of 33 candles each that he's brought into the tomb with him and which commemorate the years of Christ's life. With the candles lit, he exits the edicule and the crowded church erupts in celebration. Christian pilgrims then light their candles from the patriarchs, and the fire spreads throughout the church, throughout the city of Jerusalem, and literally around the world. Local Christians who attend the ceremony will carry the flame to their homes and churches in Jerusalem. Special emissaries will carry the flame in special boxes on planes back to their home countries, where the fire will then spread from church to church. What's even crazier than this ceremony is that most Christians in the West have never heard of it. My name is Nate Carden, and by the grace of God, I've been able to attend the ceremony both in 2017 and again in 2018. I've spent the last 3 years of my life researching the history of this miracle in this most important of churches. And I'm convinced that not knowing about this ceremony as a Christian is the equivalent of a Muslim having never heard of the annual pilgrimage to the Kaaba in Mecca. The miracle of holy fire only parallels.
Okay, man. Like, sorry, with all due respect to this gentleman, that's just not true, because this is not commanded in the Bible, where the Islamic Hajj is commanded in the Quran. It's one of the 5 pillars of Islam. Like, I don't need to do any fire ritual to gain salvation or be a Christian or something. So let's finish it and I'll give my commentary.
The greater miracle of Christ's resurrection from the dead. I believe in the miracle of holy fire because I believe in the evidence that Christ was crucified on a rock called Golgotha, and that he was buried in a cave tomb that couldn't hold him, and that both are found within this same church. Learning the history of the holy fire ceremony and the church in which it happens will make Christ's resurrection as real to you as if it only happened yesterday. It has for me. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed watching it, head on over to JesusAcademy.com, where you'll find more in-depth and curated content on the.
Okay, yeah, so I don't know. So here's in my immediate kind of reactions to this sort of a thing is there could be a couple of reactions. Okay, so let me just kind of break it down for you guys. Number one, somebody can say, and I can say, let's just say, I believe that this happens. It's a real thing that happens. Jesus comes in and does this thing. If I were to say that as a Christian, the follow-up question I would have to myself is, why? What's the point? Again, spiritually speaking, religiously speaking, biblically speaking, why would Jesus do this? What's the significance of it? And I can't think of any. To continuously do this every single year. Another one could be, but by the way, there could be significances, but I'm just scripturally speaking, I'm like, okay, what can I tie that into? It's not even like the resurrection sort of stuff, because you just don't see it. The other one is I could say, no, this is fake. Some guy's in there, he's lighting the candles, whatever, they got like a scheme going on. Another one could be like a third option, which I think typically stuff like this could be based on true events that happened. Okay. True events that happen, and because people flock to that, like they might have happened once. Let's just say it happened authentically the first time or the second time or whatever. And then people, for some reason, have the expectation to keep it going, and they come up with elaborate systems to keep it going. I don't know. I'm not interested in it, like in the sense of it believing that it's real or disbelieving that it's real makes zero difference in my Christian life. And I don't think we're required in it. Like the guy, the way he was talking about, it's the equivalent of like not knowing about the Hajj and stuff. It's just like, no, it's not. No, it is not. I'm reading the comments, by the way, and just trying to see. Oh, the question I would have is, when was the first time this holy fire stuff like happened? Let's look at it. Holy fire, Jerusalem history. We will go to our very well trusted resource of Wikipedia. In Orthodox Christian belief, the holy fire, Greek, let's open that up actually. Holy fire in the Greek, agion phos. Y'all say I can't read Greek. Phos, by the way. Fire. Holy light. In the Armenian, Surp Luis. Dude, get out of here. I'm reading in 3 languages. That's the Armenian. Surp Luis just means holy fire. Is a proposed miracle that occurs every year at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre of Jerusalem, on Great Saturday, the day before Orthodox Easter. However, the authenticity of the miracle has long been disputed. So I want to know when it was the first time. Okay, the blue light is believed to emit from Jesus' tomb, forming a column of fire for which candles are lit. The holy fire is used to light candles of the clergy of pilgrims present. The tradition dates back to at least 328 AD, as mentioned by the historian Eusebius, and is celebrated by Orthodox Christians from various countries. Faced criticism, opposition throughout history, with some accusing of it being a fraud. Various Greek Orthodox clergy members have admitted to... Okay, so this is the stuff. So various Greek Orthodox clergy members have admitted to igniting the holy fire using non-miraculous means, while others claim that the tradition was invented by the Catholic Crusaders and continued by the Greek Orthodox Church. If the history dates back to Eusebius in 328, how was it done by the Crusaders? That would be just weird. That's a weird accusation. If you find it in Eusebius's writings, which I'm not sure whether you do or not. It could be like some guy in the Middle Ages says Eusebius said this. Okay? But that's the weird thing, man, that like, why are Armenians participating in this, considering that this is a Greek Orthodox thing and there's like serious issues between Greek Orthodox and Armenian Apostolics? And it seems to me, by the way, that this is something that maybe the Armenians in Jerusalem only participate in and not in Armenia. Justin, what is the fire supposed to represent? I suppose it could represent like the light of Christ because of the resurrection. Which is fine. Like they want to take light back home as ceremonial kind of stuff. Like I'm cool with that. Okay, despite the controversy, the holy fire continues to be an important... Okay, I don't care if it's an important thing. A lot of stuff. Okay, here. Okay, Eusebius. The historian Eusebius writes in the Life of Constantine, which dates back to around 328. We'll look this up right now. So Eusebius writes in his Life of Constantine. When interesting occurrence in Jerusalem, Easter in the year 162, when the church wardens were about to fill the lamps to make them ready to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus, they suddenly noticed that there was no more oil left to pour in the lamps. Upon this, Bishop Narcissus of Jerusalem ordered the candles to be filled with water. He then told the wardens to ignite them. In front of the eyes of all present, every single lamp burned as if filled with pure oil. Christian Orthodox tradition holds that this miracle, which predates the construction of the Holy Sepulchre in the 4th century, is related to the miracle. It's not related. How's it related? Though the doctrine states differences between the two. As the former was one-time occurrence. What did I say? I didn't even know anything about this. Did I not say that it could have been a one-time thing that happened and then people felt the necessity to continue this? Two different things, by the way. Okay, around 385 AD, Egeria, a noble woman from Spain, traveled to Palestine. In the account of her journey, she speaks of a ceremony by the Holy Sepulchre of Christ where a light comes forth from the small chapel enclosed tomb by which the entire church is filled with an infinite light. Okay, and then what? Despite these previous instances, the holy fire is believed to have been first recorded. Okay, now notice what we're doing here. So there's some references. This lady's light kind of thing is a bit strange and different than that. This could have just been like in my opinion, I think this could have been an actual sort of miracle thing that happened once. Like they didn't have oil and then it's like Jesus turned water into wine. That doesn't mean like every time they use those same jugs, wine poured out, right? Like you get what I'm saying, right? Like, so Jesus goes, hey, these containers, they use it. He says, bring the water, and then he turns it into wine. And then some guy's like, hey, we still have these containers. And every time you pour water in it, it turns into wine. Like you don't see stuff like that happening. But that's the sort of stuff. It's like, okay, if this actually happened in 162, let's just say it happened. Let's just assume it happened for argument purposes. How does that in any way result in some kind of a connection of this stuff happening after the church is built? And then what we're seeing here is the Middle Ages, where the holy fire is believed to have been first recorded by the Christian pilgrim Bernard the Wise in 867, and then in the Crusader period. Okay, under Baldwin the First, Baldwin the First has very interesting connections to Armenia, by the way. So Baldwin, just I gotta make mention of these things. Baldwin the First, also known as Baldwin of Boulogne, was the first count of Edessa. From Edessa was the Armenian kingdom. He ended up actually marrying the princess from there. That's what the connection is. His wife, I think, is the first queen of Jerusalem, who's Armenian. Moving on. Latin clergy has taken over the sepulchre, and according to Christopher Tyerman, the Greek clergy were restored after the fiasco of the failure of the regular Easter miracle of the Holy Fire. So, okay, hang on. The Greek clergy were restored after the fiasco of the failure. So basically, there was an Easter where it didn't happen because the Greek guys weren't there. Maybe it's something that's like an internal thing that the Greeks do that they haven't told the Catholics. And that's why the Catholics couldn't do it. There we are again, guys. 2002. I remember this. The ceremony was marred in 2002. I remember this issue. I didn't know it had to do with this fire thing. When a disagreement between the Greek patriarch and the accompanying Armenian bishop over who should emerge first with the holy fire led to a struggle between the factions. In the course of the scuffle, the Greek patriarch twice blew the Armenian candle out.
This is a sickness of the highest order.
I can just picture two grown men fighting, and one's like, "What's up, Oski? How you doing?" You're actually not educating Christians on Christianity. I don't think this has anything to do with Christianity, by the way. There's quite a bit of really, really weird, strange traditions of all sorts within Christianity, within the Christian family. I just would say, like, is that a gospel issue? Is that what we're dealing with, or no? Trust me, I can find a lot of weird stuff. If you type "Holy Miracle Fraud Armenian Bishop," you will find a short refutation from bishop who's been involved. Shant Tsolakian, coming to the rescue. Shant is telling us, hey, is this guy like a whistleblower, Shant? Is that what's going on? I think so. Holy Miracle Fraud. Jerome said, that's fair. At least Arthur is reading through the history, unlike the last Christian who I saw talk about this. Well, if you don't know the history, then it makes sense to read the history. I mean, see what's going on, right? Thank you. I appreciate that. Hello, Art. What are your thoughts on Young Don denying the Trinity? Guys, I've made comments about Young Don before. The brother is not, in my opinion, getting his foundations right, and he's just very publicly recycling and changing through doctrines because he thinks he understands the text well. And comes to a conclusion, a month later changes his mind, comes to another conclusion, a month later changes his mind, comes to another conclusion. Like, this has been a regular aspect. So he should stop. I've said this comment before. He should probably stop publicly voicing his opinions. He should start going, or if he's not going, I don't know if he is or not, but he should be at a pretty solid church that teaches him, disciples him, and guides him in these things. Because now he has a history of just doctrinally making a mess of things on a regular basis. He should stop. And if he's interested, dude, if he's interested, I'll disciple him. Like, I don't mind that. Like, I'll meet with him alone, me and him. But I'm pretty sure there's people around him. Like, he should, if he's not a part of a local church, he should be a part of a local church and actually study these doctrines and go through them well, because I've seen the way he proof texts things. I've seen the way he quotes stuff. And I'm saying this with all kindness and love in my heart and generosity. but enough is enough in my mind, because he's got hundreds of thousands of people who watch his stuff, and he's got to be very careful and wise about fleshing out his doctrine in public, and 1 week saying one thing, 1 month saying one thing, and a month later he's changed his mind on the subject. What it's going to do, and what it's going to do, I think it's going to really hurt his reputation for people to trust other things he's going to say. Is that good? Man, I keep fighting with this thing. So it's going to really mess with his reputation in my mind. Okay, hang on. I found a YouTube video we can watch, I think. That's Arabic for those who don't know. I can't read Arabic, sorry.
Since ages.
Where does the light come from?
From God. It's like from nowhere. Like I was not there inside, but like everyone like who I ever see, it's like all of a sudden the light comes like as a fire, a blue light comes like on top of the holy tomb, and then they light the candles and then they distribute it to everyone. And for certain time it doesn't burn.
Really?
The light doesn't burn.
والآن تعالوا بنا نرى كيف سيعترف ذلك الكاهن المسيحي بأن سبت النور ليس معجزة وإنما هو مجرد خدعة. تعالوا بنا نرى.
They have bundles of candles in their hand, you know. Yes. We call them torches, you know, and they light their torches from the lit oil lamp on the tomb, and they go out, they distribute the light as being the holy fire.
They light it from the oil lamp?
They light it from the oil lamp that is put here, yes.
But the belief is that the fire comes from the sky.
No, we believe to miracles, but I didn't see, I've done 3 times. It didn't happen, the miracle. God does not perform miracles just to please people. When it's needed, God performs miracles only at that time.
No, I'm sorry. This is a false. I'm sorry.
I've done 3 times.
Okay, I'm sorry, but
Please don't intervene.
Father, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I am responsible here.
Yeah.
This is not the truth. I'm sorry.
I've done it 3 times.
This has not happened like you
I've
say.
done 3 times. We, Patrick, and myself
I'm
lived
sorry.
through the oil
Stop
lamp.
the camera.
No, you
Stop the
cannot,
camera.
you cannot anyway.
Stop the camera.
Okay.
This is not the truth.
Well, you haven't done it.
Interesting. Okay. Hey, man, you asked me a question. I got no horse in this race. Okay? I really do not have a horse in this race. And like I said, it doesn't frankly change anything about my Christianity because it's not essential. It's not even secondary. It's not even tertiary. It's one of those weird things that Christians do. It's like, hey, I got the bone of some saint. Do you know how many places I went to in Armenia where there was a bone or the head, or the skull or the arm of some saint buried there? You guys, I traveled through Armenia. The last time we were there, we went up north. I traveled southern Armenia quite a bit. So this last time we were there, last year, we traveled up north and went to a bunch of these churches and walk into church. I think we walked into a church where it was it the head of John the Baptist or claimed, because in the Middle Ages, there were so many of these things. And it's like people flock there because they think all sorts of miracles and stuff like that happen. I think this is, I think to a great deal, this stuff is idolatrous. That's sort of like, it's anti-Christian, it's anti-biblical. Where your focus becomes, oh, there's some like relics, right? Oh, there's some, the arm in this guy and the finger of this guy or the nail from the cross. It's idolatrous. God, I believe in healings, I believe in miracles. If God's going to do a healing and a miracle, he's going to do a healing and a miracle, not because I got the, left pinky finger of John the Baptist and therefore that's going to happen. Yeah, I mean, you can't be unstable in your theology and then like publicly just be like, I get it, right? Like, dude, just do a bunch of other stuff. You should be fine. He's really good in regards to the stuff he does. But when it comes to teaching the Bible and doing all that stuff, it's problematic. Sounds like he's not teachable. Maybe so. I don't know. I don't know him personally. So yeah, I mean, even the fact that they're saying this is the tomb of Jesus, I mean, there's obviously uh, debate over where the actual tomb is and all that stuff. But let's just even going with that. But that's not what the conversation is. The conversation's like this candles get lit spontaneously and it's a miracle that gets done. I think what that priest said was actually very accurate. He says God doesn't do miracles just to please people. Just because you got like 80,000 people gathering there, it's like, oh, it's going to happen. It's for what? And I always want to ask questions like, what's the, like, why would God do something like this? Is an important thing to think about. He might not. He might say, oh, I'm not a teacher or whatever like that. But I think he's doing teaching and he's got to be very careful with that. Hey, I'm not sure whether I even want to comment on this. You know what? This calls for a. Oh, I had it muted.
This is a sickness of the highest order.
What? There are places that you can use religious positions to claim authority over the claims of potentially dubious events that can be idolatry. What? Jerome, what are you talking about, man? I'd say there's a debate over whether there was even a tomb or not. Yeah, well, I would disagree with you there. Correct, because I'm just like so detached to some of this stuff. I'm like, isn't there wisdom in the Bible that teaches new believers not to teach others until they are 4 to 5 years in the faith, related to Leviticus 19:25? I don't know what Leviticus 19:25 says. But I would say that, as a matter of fact, yesterday in our Bible study, we were looking at 1 Timothy chapter 3, where it says an elder should not be, like, should be able to teach, but shouldn't even be a recent convert. So I agree with quite a bit of that. 4 or 5 years, I wouldn't put timelines like that because people grow and develop and learn at faster degrees. But in the 5th year, you may eat its fruit in this way. Yeah, I wouldn't say so. I would say that's taking this Leviticus 19 passage out of context. That has nothing to do with teaching Kedana there. Yeah, you guys can Google it and Okay, so I'm curious now because I didn't know that Young Dunn said this. I saw someone comment on something, but I'm curious to know now what he's talking about. Somebody can give me a timestamp or something like that? Okay, he posted a video. It's new a day ago. I don't believe in the Trinity. It's time to tell the truth. 3 hours long, really? Let's see. So hang on.
Truth. It's time I told you the truth. Some time ago, about I don't know how long it's been now. You know what? It would have started about a week before my daughter was born. So that now puts it about let's see here. That now puts it about just, about a month ago. About a month ago, I decided to start studying the Trinity. I decided to start studying the Trinity. As a Christian, let me record this. As a Christian, you get what I like to call a Christian dogma starter package or a Christian doctrine starter package, a set of beliefs that you just inherit. And they're very popular, and they're, you go into almost any church in America and there are certain things they're just going to tell you it's true. And you just accept it. Why? Because the man on the pulpit, he's old. You assume he's read the Bible a bunch. Probably even went to some kind of theological school, some kind of seminary, some kind of Bible school. And so he for sure knows what he's talking about. Also, the Bible is a complicated, mystical book that you can't understand, and you need somebody to break it down for you and tell you the truth, right?
No, it's not. Who believes that? See, these are caricatures, guys. This is why I'm such a big fan and advocate. Okay. I'm a big fan and advocate of proper hermeneutics. I've reacted to some of Young Don's stuff. I don't listen to all this stuff, so I got to be careful here. But the Bible is not some mysterious book that we got to go to some guru to learn from. That's Gnosticism. The Gnostics believed that. You got to go and they will give you some special knowledge. If you apply proper reading, hermeneutics is the art and science of biblical interpretation. But it's also just proper reading. If you look at secular historians, secular scholars who are looking at books like when you get secular folks who are looking at books like the Iliad, like the Odyssey, they do hermeneutics. Because you need to bridge the gap you got to bridge the gap between you and the text. And there's a big gap between you and the text. There's a linguistic gap. There's a cultural gap. There's a historical gap. There's a cultural gap. And when you walk into a church, I'm sorry, but if you walk into a church and it is right to assume the guy at the pulpit knows more than you. especially if you're a new believer. Do not be arrogant enough to think that you know more than the guy. Oh, I just became a Christian a month ago. And I know better. You don't know better. You don't know the language. You don't know how to articulate things. You don't know how the theological and philosophical conversations go about this. That's how you get to a place where every other month you're changing your view on something. Because you think you know better.
And so that's the attitude I had. And of course, I adopted several beliefs.
Then it was a wrong attitude. So it's not the beliefs that were wrong necessarily. It's your attitude towards that was wrong. Did you guys get the difference?
From, the church I started attending, right? Once saved, always saved. That was one. I attended a Baptist church, the Trinity, of course.
So the views he's changed. Once saved, always saved. Calvinism. The law issue. The Trinity issue.
Then, of course, we got
how is he not
pre-tribulation rap.
Seeing this? How do you dude? If you watch this, Don, if you watch this, brother, how are you not seeing this? How are you not seeing there's a pattern here in your person, in your character, where you are quickly jumping from one doctrine to the other doctrine? And how are you not seeing that being problematic in that you're not stable? He was King James only. Like how many times do you need to do that where people go, dude, it seems like the stability is the thing that's the issue here rather than anything else. Maybe it's the way you process information. Maybe it's like how quickly you believe something because it just sounds right to you because you haven't seen the other side. For example, in the book of Proverbs, it says, I'm paraphrasing here, one view seems right to a man till the opposite view is presented. Like that's the wisdom you should bring when it comes to doctrine. Oh, someone gets up there and says, oh, once saved, always saved. You're like, oh, that sounds about right. But you've never studied the opposite side. And so therefore you believe it. And then you study the opposite side and you go, oh, wait, this view isn't as strong as I thought it was. Let's just say. And then you publicly proclaim how it's so wrong and they're misteaching and I've changed my mind. But what you haven't done in my mind, even in that point, is actually study the two together and the serious thinkers. In 1 month, you changed your view on the Trinity? Come on, man.
Capture and a host of other beliefs that you just take as true. Many of these things you hear growing up as well. And so you just take them. The law is done away with. You don't need to keep the commandments. The Sabbath is done away with. You can eat unclean animals. It's all fine. And, you look around YouTube and you see a bunch of people with just a zeal for God, and they're saying a lot of the same things you believe.
You guys, if YouTube is your main research thing theologically, there's problems there. Read theologians. Please read theologians if you're interested. Pick up a systematic theology book, guys. I got 2-3 systematic theology books sitting in my bookshelf right now.
So just out of, a zeal for Jesus and wanting to spread it, you just start talking. And that's
should not have. Somebody should have been around you and told you need to stop talking.
Where a lot of people, I say, that's where they stop, right? And they just continue to read the Bible through this initial lens, this initial ideological lens that they received when they became a Christian. And whenever they come across a verse that seems to contradict one of their, initial beliefs, you just kind of, Either you brush it under the rug, or you just chalk it up to, well, maybe there's a way to explain this that aligns with my beliefs. But me personally, I knew from the beginning that it would be my goal to understand the Bible. It would be my goal to truly understand the truths of the Bible. I was never interested in, healing people, prophesying, casting out demons. I was never interested in all of that. If I wanted God to bless me with anything, I wanted him to bless me with true understanding of his word. And so that's what I prayed for. That's what I prayed for time and time again. It's what I still pray for more than anything else in regards to, spiritual gifts and things of that nature. And so as time went on, the scales started to fall from my eyes.
Lord have mercy.
As time went on, God went ahead and started revealing.
Unknown caller.
I'm a bit angry, guys. This is nonsense. Let me just tell you. Let me rewind this and then we'll talk about it.
Else in regards to, spiritual gifts.
Okay.
wanted him to bless me with true understanding of
You want
his
true
word.
understanding of his word, bro? Read a book. It is not enough for you to sit there and say, I prayed, and therefore now I have a good understanding of it. That's Gnosticism. I have the true knowledge. It's Gnosticism, bro. This is why you keep changing your mind every single month. Like at one point or another, you got to stop. Okay? Here's a good book to read, Encountering the Old Testament. Not a very difficult read. It even has pictures in it. Okay? You get a nice outline from every single book of the Bible, major themes, key terms, study questions, summary for the reading. Part 1, Part 2, or Part 1, New Testament, Encountering the New Testament, Encountering the Old Testament. Good textbooks. Some of us who went to school had to read these. Honor, Patronage, Purity. De Silva, I interviewed him. How to read a book. This isn't even about the Bible, but learn how to read a book. Understanding the scriptures. First semester reading in Bible college. Understanding the prophetic, interpreting the prophetic word, an introduction to prophetic literature of the Old Testament. Read. Studying, interpreting, and applying the Bible. 2 horizons, New Testament hermeneutics and philosophical descriptions. The hermeneutical spiral. Okay? Biblical interpretation. How to read the Bible for all it's worth. But you prayed and you said, God, please help me in understanding this. And I'm sure the Holy Spirit told you the historical cultural context and told you the Greek words and their masculine or feminine use of it. Because you prayed and you came to believe in some weird view, something that Christians historically haven't believed in because you prayed. But you can't be wrong because the scales from your eyes fell off. Because you prayed. Now, it's not that you could have prayed and just been wrong in thinking whatever it was you were reading. Oh yeah, God must have told me this. And completely, and forgive me guys, arrogantly think that everybody that's actually knows this stuff more than you, they can't because, hey, you just figured it out. But it's also the case where every other month you change your view on a different subject that is an essential core doctrine of Christianity sometimes. Frankly, I don't even care if you're King James only. You want to not eat pork? Don't eat pork. I don't care about that. But when you get to central doctrines of Christianity, oh, I prayed. Sheesh, man.
And so that's what I prayed for. That's what I prayed for time and time again. It's what I still pray for. More than anything else in regards to, spiritual major deception that he. As time went on, the scales started to fall from my eyes. As time went on, God went ahead and started revealing.
No, God did not start revealing stuff to you, bro. God did not reveal to you false, wrong, unbiblical things that you somehow thought you know, that you've self-admittedly been wrong on so many different doctrinal points. At this point, you do not have the right to say, God revealed this to me, where 5 times before this, God revealed something to you and you self-admittedly came out and said you were wrong. You guys, please do not confuse my zeal right now and me being upset for me being angry, okay? I'm upset, and I'm passionately upset because I love the Bible. And I love God, and I love the people of God. And so I have a zeal for the people of God. I have a zeal for the proper understanding of the Word of God. You have lost, my brother, at this point, all credibility. I'm very sorry that a lot of people listen to you and take you seriously on these things. But at one point or another, some of us, as generous as we want to be, and as kind as we want to be to you, okay? And really, I've multiple times held back from commenting on things about Don. And I've said he's a young brother, he's a newer believer, he's figuring some of this stuff out. It happens just to be in the public spectacle. He's, public view. But when you come and you make statements like, God revealed this to me, the deception was revealed, or something like that, then I'm like, okay, bro, like, I'm not gonna hold back my punches.
The first thing he did was show me that his law was not done away with. That was the first major deception that he took me out of. Or was it that hell is not a place of eternal torture where the souls of the damned will be tortured perpetually forever and ever, amen? But in fact, as Jesus says, those who aren't saved will perish. The word perish means to be destroyed. They will be destroyed, incinerated, cast into the lake of fire. Hell and death will be cast into the lake of fire, and these things will be done away with. But after that, then God showed me the truth about the law. At least he started to. He made it absolutely clear that the Sabbath has not been changed or done away with, and that we are not supposed to be eating unclean animals. It would take some time before he made me realize the extent to which we are expected to keep the Mosaic law. The Mosaic law has not been done away with. Then he showed me that OSAS was false.
Hey, I think Don's becoming a Jew, and he doesn't realize it. And I wouldn't be surprised. At this point, I really wouldn't be surprised that in 3 months, 2 months, he comes out and says, I no longer believe in Jesus. What I'm just going to do is believe in the Old Testament, and I'm just becoming a Jew. That would not surprise me at all.
You showed me that OSAS was false. Once saved, always saved. It was not true. That it is, in fact, conditional security. Right? Conditional salvation, I should say. Right? It is, you must turn from your wickedness and be faithful to God. If you continue to live in your wickedness, well, you will perish. It's that simple. And I really didn't think it was going to get any crazier from there. I just believing these things alone already put me on a very small island. Very small island. You know. Oh, you don't got to keep the law. Oh, once saved, always saved. It's sure already put me in a very unpopular camp. But since while I was at it, testing all of these beliefs,
I'm
these
curious
lies,
to know how he was testing these things. The nature of testing. I'm very curious how you test these things.
that I've inherited from mainstream churchianity, I said, well, how about the Trinity then? Now, I had no problem with the Trinity. I love the Trinity. When, I've had Muslims join my Discord and I've debated them and proven to them that the Trinity is true. The Trinity is true. Why? Because according to mainstream Christian culture, to deny the Trinity is to deny God. To deny the Trinity is to deny Jesus, Yahweh, everything all together, as if they aren't even real. I never for a moment considered the possibility that man has miscategorized these people. I mean, Jesus sure does call himself God's son over and over and over and over. Tells us there is only one true God, the Father. This is a message that is repeated throughout the Bible in several places. And so I was like, you know what? Let's look into this. Let's test it. And I tested it and tested it. And
how did you test it? That's good. How did you test it? He never tells us how he tested it. He doesn't say, I spent 4 or 5 months reading this book, listening to this scholar, this book against the Trinity, this book for the Trinity. Like, I wrote papers on it. Here's a 28-page paper that is the result of my study. How did you test it, my brother? How?
It came up short. Wait a minute. Do you know how many times the term God the Father occurs in the Bible? 19. You know how many times God the Son or God the Holy Spirit occurs in the Bible? 0. Wonder why? That's interesting. And so I was like, let's really dig deep. Now I dug deep, looked into it pretty thoroughly for 2 weeks, and then I started
Come on, guys. Come on. This is a sickness
of the highest order.
Okay, so I can't take you seriously when you say something like, I looked into it very seriously for 2 weeks. Weeks. Man. Do you know how arrogant of a man let me say something. Number one, he's got a little kid. God bless his family. You're probably not spending every single hour of those 2 weeks. Let's just say you spend it. Let's just say you guys are throwing, some of you guys are throwing numbers out there about hours, okay? Okay, so 2 weeks. 2 weeks is 14 days, okay? Let's just say 14 days. It's 24 hours in a day, okay? It's 336 hours, as some of you guys are mentioning, okay? 336 hours. Now, let's just say that for those 14 days, okay, you are sleeping 8 hours a day, right? So that's 112 hours. 336 minus 112. That's 224 hours. Out of that 224 hours, okay, let's write this down. Out of the 224 hours, let's say you're eating 2 hours a day for 14 days. Okay, that's 28 hours. So 28 hours, let's just say it's 24 hours. You're left with 200 hours in that time period. You're doing other work. You're doing this job. You're doing that job. Hang on. Yes, young lady. You good, Nairi? Okay. Okay, so you got about 200 hours in the week. That's assuming you've slept and you've eaten. That's it. I'm not even talking about other stuff. You slept and you ate. I haven't bathroom, shower, X, Y, and Z activities you've done. Spending time with your wife, changing diapers for your kid. How much time does that leave? 2 weeks worth of research? 150 hours, let's just say. 150 hours comes out to be about 6 days. You've done 6 days, let's just say, of research, and you figured this out. He's got 2 babies, not 1. He's got 2 babies. Just saying, like, family stuff, dude. Do you know how difficult it is for me to read books? Considering the stuff I do. You guys, I don't have it with me right now because it's in my backpack. I just piled these books here for some reason. I run 2 Bible studies a week. One of them is for our patron supporters. And for that, I'm reading through this book. Okay? The Bible study I do for my church that I'm co-leading, I'm reading through 3 commentaries for that book. I study the text. I'm spending anywhere from 6 to 8, 9 hours at the very least studying for those Bible studies on Thursday nights. I have 3 kids. Got a wife. I got family. I got friends. I spend time with them. I go to birthday parties. I'm at events. I go see my parents. They come over. Folks come over. I'm with my church family. That leaves you not a lot of time to be reading and researching and writing. Now, I've done that. In order for you to write a 10-page paper in seminary, in graduate school, in order for you to write a 10-page paper, you got to have at least 10 sources, articles, books, chapters of books, whatever it may be. Months and years.
To share this quietly, right? By discussing it with people who are members of my Discord community, showing them what I was seeing and, telling them why it was really bothering me. And of course, to be expected, as you can probably see from the chat to
Nobody
your,
in the Discord community called you out and said you don't know what you're talking about. And 2 weeks is very little time.
on the screen. I don't even want to look at it right now. But as I'm sure you can imagine, it was a bunch of venom and you're lost, you're a heretic, you're unsaved, you're not a Christian, you're a Muslim, all this nonsense. All this nonsense, right? Nowhere in the Bible does it say you must believe that Jesus Christ is Yahweh, is God himself, God Almighty himself. It says that you must confess that Jesus is the Messiah.
Jesus said, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father.
The Christ, the Son of God. That's what it says. So I didn't feel like I was in this danger of exploring this topic, this way that people were reacting. Maybe I was wrong, but the emotional reaction of people to this just made me see that there is something wrong here. The absolute emotional reaction.
Something's not wrong, Don. Don, let me
Right?
explain something. If you ever watch this, and for those of you guys who are watching, people get emotional because they love you, they care about you, they trusted you, they've listened to you. They actually thought for some awkward, weird reason that you're somehow a teacher to them. I know this because people have come to me and asked me, what do I think personally? Hey, I listened to Young Don. I really like his stuff. What do you think about him? And I've told them, don't listen to him. He's not a teacher. He's not equipped to be a teacher. He hasn't been solid enough. He doesn't have the foundations to be a teacher. Do not listen to his teachings. You can listen to him, but you do not trust the stuff he's saying because he has shown over and over again that he's on unstable grounds. People get emotional because they love you. People get emotional because they love God. People get emotional because they love the Word of God, like I just did. Okay? Like I said, don't confuse my upsetness or my, I'm not angry. The zeal I have, the passion that comes forth is because there's hundreds of thousands of people listening to you. And if you can't see that, I don't know what to say. If you can't see that people who have listened to you, who've trusted you and have said, hey, Don's a great guy, and X, Y, and Z, and now they're like, what are you doing, man? You're being very foolish. Stop doing that. Why are you denying the Trinity? And you're like, oh, something's wrong here. Must be some kind of a conspiracy. No, it's because people care for you.
This assertion that you're now unsaved. Mind you, most of these people don't even think we should keep it.
By the way, this is the same guy that said he was a Calvinist, and then when he left Calvinism, said that he was unsaved during that process. I've heard him say that. He said initially when he said he was a Christian, that he wasn't really a Christian. Now because he didn't understand the gospel, and now like he said the same thing about himself. And I highly doubt it's just the Trinity thing that's come into the question. By the way, I don't know enough about him. For all I know, a month later, he's going to come back and say, hey guys, I studied the Trinity again, and I was wrong. I believe in the Trinity. For all I know, that should be extremely expected from Young Don. That he's going to come back, he's going to apologize, he's going to say, guys, I was wrong. I did this, I did that. Some people pulled me aside. I read some books. I did some more research, and I no longer deny the Trinity. Because I don't have guarantees that you wouldn't do this because you've done this enough. See, this is what happens when your reputation kind of builds that way. When you're always changing your mind on stuff, you develop a reputation where people can trust you on whether you're not going to. So I wouldn't say that you're not saved or something like that. Time will tell. I'm not God. But I have no guarantees. He was also afraid to debate Sam Shamoun, saying he wasn't prepared. He can slander the Trinity, but not have evidence to back it up. Well, he wouldn't be prepared to debate someone like Sam Shamoun. Sam's a brilliant guy. He, in my opinion, his presentation isn't the most kosher. But come on, dude.
Which, that is what it is. Anyway, I tried to unlearn it. I tried to unsee it. I desperately tried to unsee it. I watched videos after videos of guys like Dr. Michael Brown and, William Craig and just a host of people explain the Trinity. I listened to debates with Trinitarians trying to just believe in the Trinity again. Because of all the doctrines that I've rejected, nothing has made me feel more of an outcast than rejecting the Trinity.
Because you're rejecting a central doctrine of Christianity. Okay, let me explain something to you. If you reject secondary doctrines, you're not going to feel like an outcast for obvious reasons. It's secondary doctrine. So I don't believe in once saved, always saved, which is the normal people way of saying perseverance of the saints or eternal security or something. If I were to change my mind on that, suppose I changed my mind. I went from not believing in once saved, always saved to believing in once saved, always saved. I wouldn't feel like an outcast. I would have Christian brothers who would say, Arthur, you're wrong. You shouldn't have changed your mind. But I would also be accepted into a group of Christian brothers who said, finally, Arthur, you saw what Scripture teaches, so you don't feel an outcast. If you reject something like the Trinity or the deity of Christ or the Bible is the Word of God, you will feel like an outcast because you have made yourself an outcast to the Christian historical global world. It's not our fault. It is not our fault that you feel like an outcast. You have made yourself an outcast by rejecting the Trinity. The video is titled, I Don't Believe in the Trinity, all caps. It's time to tell the truth. You're making a proclamation that you don't believe in the Trinity. You are not saying, hey, I'm having a hard time with the Trinity. Can somebody explain it to me? Hey, I'm having a hard time with the Trinity. I'm studying this. Hey, I don't know how to conceptualize the Trinity, but I still believe in it. Hey, which Bible verses support the Trinity? You are saying, I don't believe in the Trinity. You are saying, I no longer belong to the historical Christian church. And then you're complaining about feeling like an outcast? Come on.
And so I desperately wanted to be a Trinitarian again. I looked at all the proof texts that people would give.
The way he's telling the story is like, by the way, great storyteller. I mean that, like he's a phenomenal artist. I think Don can tell stories really well. That's his gifting. The way you're telling the story, like it took you years and months. I went from here to here to here. But in reality, it took you days. Like for all I know is like 2-3 days you spent. So if I counted all this together and I gave you 150 hours of study, that's 6 full days, 24-hour days, right? Suppose you were doing this 8 hours a day. You watched a bunch of videos. It seems like you didn't do any reading. That's what it seems like to me. You just watched a bunch of videos on YouTube. You spend a lot of time on YouTube. And you went like 1 day like this, 2 days like that, and then you're like, oh, then I wanted to become a Trinitarian again. No, like that literally took, like for 1 day, you might have wanted that. For 2 days, you might have wanted that. Because you said it took 2 weeks. And you said it started when your daughter was born, which is a month.
or Trinitarianism, and you know, I could see what they were saying, but it just could not undo the blatantly clear verses that made it clear that the one true God is the Father and only the Father, right? Now, is Jesus God? There's a way to answer that yes, that I do agree with. But when people say Jesus is God, they don't say it the way I say it. They don't mean
I want to know what he means.
I mean. Without realizing it, from my point of view, they are turning Jesus into the Father. To assert
that is a false understanding of the Trinity. Nobody is turning Jesus into the Father. The fact that you would even say this shows me that you really don't know what's going on when we talk about the Trinity. Without realizing they're turning Jesus into the Father. Who has ever said this? Again, the question comes back to who are you listening to? Who has said, oh yeah, by the way, when I say this, I'm equivocating Jesus with the Father. The doctrine of the Trinity literally says the Father and the Son are not the same person. Maybe, just maybe. It is not the doctrine of the Trinity that is the problem here. It is your understanding of the doctrine of the Trinity. And maybe, just maybe, 2 weeks of research is not enough time for research.
He is absolutely equal to the Father is to ignore the fact that he clearly says the Father is greater than he. To ignore the fact that he was begotten.
Nobody! I can't stay calm. I really can't. And I'm a calm person, generally speaking. Okay, I'm going to do this in a very calm way.
Absolutely equal to the Father is to ignore the fact that he clearly says the Father is greater than he.
So here's what this is called. Within the Trinitarian economy, there's a difference between ontological equality and equality in roles. When Jesus is equal to the Father, we're talking about it ontologically, meaning they are equal in the same being. When the Father is greater than I, we're talking about it in the case of roles. Okay, this is a very typical thing that Jehovah's Witnesses have said, and other cults and stuff like that have said. That there's like, again, my question comes to, what have you actually researched, and what have you researched and read for those 2 weeks? Okay. Because what you're saying could be answered in a very simple, cursory study of this subject. Okay. Let me answer what Sapralde is saying. Do you think if he took 3 weeks, would he come to the right answer? Not necessarily. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that it shows the simplicity of his thinking. But he says the story in such a way, like, oh man, I spent so much time, I gave so much attention to this subject, when you didn't. That's what I'm talking about more.
To ignore the fact that he was begotten. He is the Father's Son. He came from the Father, the firstborn of all creation. Think about that. If I say I am the firstborn of all my brethren, what does that mean?
It could mean many different things. It depends on the context. It could be that you were born first, which Jesus was born. Do you realize we have a whole doctrine in Christian theology that deals with the eternal begettedness of the Son? Again, I'm not sure whether Don's even looked at these things. I'm not sure even whether he's aware of these things, because he hasn't given me reason, historically speaking, where he knows these things. This isn't, Don, you're not the first person to discover Christianity. This thing didn't fall into your lap and you're figuring it out. You can deal with authority in the first century, like some of you guys are mentioning, right? Preeminence. Jesus is physically born. He's the firstborn of the dead. I mean, there's many ways firstborn can be used.
Means I came first. We'll get to that in a second. But you know, so all these blatant verses and so yeah, man, I tried to ignore it. I tried to see it from another vantage point, but it just was not working. I couldn't shake it. I prayed to God. I fasted. And
by the way,
it was one of the most
arguments. When people say
miserable.
Things like I prayed to God and I fasted, like, and then what? So I prayed to God and I fasted and it made sense to me. And then what? Like, that is not an argument.
Periods of my time, my life, not because of the doctrine, me feeling confused or unsettled, but because of how much hatred and lack of love.
There's no lack of love.
Was coming
there's
from
a passion. There's a passion like you see in me, and that's out of love. That's out of love for God, number one. That's out of love for the Word of God. That's number two. And that's out of love for you. That's number three. Don't try to paint this. I'm sorry. Do not. If you are somebody who regularly watches Dawn, do not go for this guilt trip. Oh, you guys are being unloving to me or whatever like that. Like, look, don't be a jerk. Don't be mean unnecessarily. Don't be mean. But if you're going to be passionate and call them out for being wrong, it's out of love.
the majority of these self-professed Christians in the face of me entertaining this argument. It was horrible. And I knew it'd only be worse if I came out with it publicly on stream. That didn't stop these unloving Christians from coming in here and trying to start trouble, of course. But
you can't play the victim when you do something like this. You really can't. You can't play the victim. You can't. You know exactly what you're doing, bro. You're smarter than that. Look at the way you've titled your stream. You're smarter than that.
How that fruit works out for them on the day of judgment, if they keep up that kind of a behavior. Anyway,
if Don, you're the guy who believes in the free grace doctrine, as far as I know, unless he's changed that view. He might have changed that view. I'm not sure, but how would that work for them, given that all they need to do is believe in Christ and be saved? Even if they were hateful towards you, does the blood of Christ, not that it justifies it, but the blood of Christ covers that?
I tried to stream and not talk about it. Something I wanted to continue studying in private. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I just needed to put more time in.
You are wrong.
But, of course, every day, if it's not on my Discord, it's someone in this chat. Oh, trying to press the issue. And I started to feel...
Don, this is why you should do these things privately for a longer period of time and not publicly say everything that comes to your mind. You guys, does anybody know how old Dawn is? I'm going to stop it, by the way. I'm not going to continue with this. Can somebody tell me how old he is? Okay, so he's in his late 20s. He's 28. Oh man, I'm gonna show you guys an example. By the way, I'm gonna show you examples of stuff that just you guys. A lot of you guys. Let me actually say something that maybe some of you guys don't know. Man, the wires are messy. Maybe contrary to popular thought or something like that, I actually do not spend a lot of time on YouTube listening to other YouTubers. Okay. Like when I do research, I'm not necessarily watching a debate between this guy and that guy. I prefer to read that sort of stuff. I watch debates, obviously, but what I prefer to do is read books and read scholarly journals or scholarly academic level books, because I think academic level books are the ones that you probably will do the best with. They're a bit boring to read, but they're probably the best to do. Where was I going with this? There's some guy on the internet who's saying a bunch of stuff, must be true or whatever like that. Like, whatever I say, man, like make sure you guys are criticizing it and looking at it and doing your research and X, Y, and Z. If I don't know something, I'll tell you I don't know it. If it's a complicated subject, I'll tell you it's complicated. If Christians disagree about it, I'll tell you Christians disagree about it. The cool thing about the YouTube now is that you do have academicians now who have YouTube channels. That's a really, really good thing. But in the written word, it's a bit different in regards to kind of the sources and resources and all that stuff you can focus on and deal with. Somebody sent me an Instagram video today. I woke up and this was an Instagram video that was sent to me. Okay, and I was like, not sure about this, but let me actually pull it up. I want to play this video for you guys because I want you to know kind of what I'm talking about. Okay. Can I go to this page? Okay. Now, this is the video, okay?
But did you know that there's an incredible meaning hidden in the Hebrew? The 4 Hebrew letters that make up his name are Yud, He, Vav, He, which in ancient early Hebrew were represented by pictures or symbols. Yud symbolizes the arm or the hand. He signifies a revelation and can also mean behold. Vav represents a nail or a peg. And He again signifies another revelation. When you put these together, you get a message that truly blows your mind. Behold the hand, behold the nail. Or, the hand reveals, the nail reveals. Jesus is the manifestation of Yahweh in the flesh and is crucified on a cross with nails in his hands, which reveals the plan.
Okay, so you watch something like this, you go, oh, that's pretty cool, right? Like immediately, you probably should be suspect towards that because number one, I highly doubt whether this gentleman has looked at the counter arguments to whatever it is. Like when he came across this pictographic interpretive lens or whatever like that. And so I'd never even heard about this, right? So somebody sends me this and says, hey, Art, what do you think about this? And I was like, I'll tell you, I'll read exactly what I just wrote to them. I wrote, the person said, is this accurate? I said, I'm not sure, but I would be highly skeptical of this. I would say it's most likely false. And then I did some research. Okay. So I looked at some websites where people were arguing the same stuff that he was arguing. And I found an article where this guy was going through it, quoting different Hebrew scholars, saying, don't trust it, so on and so forth. So I sent this article to this person. I said, hey, here's the counter to this stuff. I'm not sure about this, but here's what other people are arguing. And then here's what this person responded to me. Great article. Thank you for sending. Scary how easy it is to spread false teaching. Thanks for the help. You guys need to be careful whenever you're listening to folks on the internet who are saying, frankly, the sort of stuff that Don was saying. I'm not saying don't listen to them, but evaluate it. Evaluate what I'm saying. Like, the thing is that I'm still scared, you guys, to say certain things on the internet. For a couple of reasons, because there might be things that I'm not very sure about. There's things that are not within my expertise. It's not stuff I studied. And so I'm a bit more skeptical on myself. Like, oh, I write it down, I look at it, and then I consider it and reconsider it and do some further reading on it and stuff like that. And then maybe I might make some comments. You guys have who was it? Sorry, Sapere, right? Who was the person that recommended the fire thing? Keanu recommended the fire miracle sort of thing, right? And I was like, I don't even know about this. And we went and very simply like read a Wikipedia kind of history thing. But before that, I should say, before we went into it, I said, here's what I know about human nature. Here's what I know about human nature. Here's what I've seen in church history, where something will happen, and then for some reason people think they got to continue doing that thing. And that's exactly what we read. You have to develop in an age, in a time where we have so much access to information. You have to realize that intelligence is not, or should not be about how much information you have stored. That's not intelligence. Intelligence is whether you have the ability to think through the information you have or could potentially have. You have to, guys, Christians, non-Christians, atheists, Buddhists, Hindus, Christians, it doesn't matter. You have to develop your critical thinking skills. Critical thinking skills, which means it is not something you're just born with. Oh, I can think, therefore I have critical thinking abilities and skills. No, it is something you work at. It is something you work very hard at. You learn how to nuance things. You learn how to tell the difference between two things that might be different. Earlier on, our good friend, back to Orthodoxy, Justin, said, is Chick-fil-A better or In-N-Out? And I said, Well, they're not the same sort of thing. And then I think somebody in the chat said false equivocation. It's an informal logical fallacy. Do you know informal logical fallacies? Do you know formal logical fallacies? Develop your critical thinking skills. Please, guys, please. If there's one thing that you can benefit from this channel, and I do see myself as a teacher, and I realize what that means, but I wouldn't say I'm an unqualified teacher. I teach on things that I know about. Things that I don't know, I try to figure it out, and then we can have a conversation about that. But the stuff that I talk about is stuff that I've formally learned and continued on learning. These weren't stuff that I like came across, and then 2 weeks later, I was like, I got an opinion on this subject. 3 weeks later, I was like, yeah, I think my opinion on this subject is actually equal to William Lane Craig's opinion. Let's just say I thought the Kalam cosmological argument is a bad argument. And I made a video. Okay? Let's come up with this scenario. This is fun because I want to prove a point by this. Say I got introduced to the Kalam cosmological argument. Okay? And I said, I got introduced to it, and then a month later, I came up with a video, and my video is titled, "The Kalam cosmological argument is the worst argument for the existence of God." Clickbaity, it'll get traction. Or see how William Lane Craig is wrong. William Lane Craig is a false teacher, right? Like statements of this sort. Clickbaity. And I made a video and I was like, guys, I studied the Kalam cosmological argument. Spent 2 weeks on it. I watched Craig. I watched opponents. I did this. I did that. You guys realize Bill Craig wrote his doctoral dissertation on the Kalam cosmological argument. 3 years of historical academic study. There's individuals who write scholarly papers and articles arguing for and against the Kalam. I should not think, even if I think the Kalam is bad or wrong or whatever, I should not think that my opinion is equal to somebody who spent 2 years looking at that argument, even if they disagree with it. Let's just say we agree on the conclusion. Say I think it's wrong and some other guy thinks it's wrong. But that guy spent 3 years on it and look at the historical development, went from the Islamic philosophical schools, brought it into the Christian philosophical schools, thinks there's inaccuracies in its assumptions, say it has unfounded assumptions, unfounded a priori assumptions or something like that. And then me, who just says, I looked at it and it just didn't sit so right, so I think it's false. We might be right about the conclusion, but I shouldn't think that what I'm talking about is on the same level as that person. That's what I'm trying to say. So develop your critical skills, critical thinking skills. Now, there's a question that's been asked. That's a good question. Okay. Jackson says, what are some good ways to develop your critical thinking skills? Very good question. I got a couple of books I can recommend for you when it comes to developing your critical thinking skills. One of them is someone borrowing my book. One of them is a book called Socratic Logic by Peter Kreeft. That's a beginner book you can read. Okay, I'll drop the link in the box right now. I would say read logic textbooks. Now, you got to be careful when it comes to reading logic textbooks because you don't want to pick up a symbolic logic textbook. I'll show you an example of a symbolic logic textbook, by the way. But there's always a book. There is. So that's Socratic logic. That's a very good place to start. There are lots of critical thinking books. I'll show you. Let me show you guys examples of critical thinking books I've bought for my children. Here. These books will help you. Don't think they're kids' books and they're not going to be good. Right here. Critical Thinking Detective. Book 1. Okay? Look at that. Grades. Look at the grades. Guys, this is for kids. These are great ways to learn critical thinking and for kids to learn critical thinking. Okay? So we have, I think we have this one. There's a series. Hey, Emil, if you're in the chat, drop that those books that are the series. Let me actually do this. Let me get out of this and then go to my orders. That would be the best way to do this. As many of you guys know, we homeschool our children. Here, this is a really good one. This is one we have. I really, really like this one, guys. This one right here, the Fallacy Detective. Okay, now that's the audiobook, but you can paperback. Okay. Okay, the Fallacy Detective. 38 lessons on how to recognize bad reasoning. So it's got 38 examples in there. So let's click on it. We'll look at the... Okay, so these are all the fallacies that this book goes through. So exercise your mind, love to listen, opposing viewpoints, red herring fallacy, recognizing red herrings, special pleading, ad hominem, genetic fallacy. Okay? Like, just, you go through it, explains this stuff, 230 pages, very easy read. Does it have examples in there? Look, this is the way it's written. Here's what's a fallacy. This is an easy read. I would say, like, this is for kids. We got this for our kids. We use this book for our kids. We want them to develop these abilities from a very young age. Now, you don't have to, like, don't be ashamed. Don't be like, oh, it's a kid's book, I got to read it. You will learn quite a bit. Here, I'll give you, these are examples. Okay, love to listen. This is lesson 2, love to listen. This lesson is about listening and the benefits that come from listening. Okay, at the country fair, Bob joins a circle of guys having a discussion. He catches the words, drives them up, and interjects his thoughts on what's driving up corn prices. After several minutes, Bob pauses. The guys try to imagine where he's coming from. They'd been discussing differences between men and women drivers when Bob joined them. Bob chalks their silence up to shyness and starts explaining little-known factors that affect the price of corn. Bob becomes more and more animated. He thinks they don't get his point. Finally, one guy mumbles something about feeding his pigs and strolls away. Everybody else does the same. What is Bob's problem? Well, clearly Bob doesn't know how to listen well. Does Bob talk too much? People who know Bob might agree. However, is it possible that their problem is deeper? Can it be that Bob simply does not like to listen? that he enjoys telling people what he thinks more than he enjoys listening to what they have to say. A person who is humble, now they're learning a virtue, humility, and who loves to listen may show these characteristics. So, great book. For those of you guys who are parents, you can buy this book and read it with your kids. You will learn. They will learn. They will see you practicing these things in front of them. It will be good. I promise you. Okay, you can get the audiobook, paper. Oh, here's another one. This is another book we got. You can buy these together, by the way. You probably should. They're kind of the thinking toolbox. 35 lessons that will help build your reasoning skills. That one was on logical fallacies. So there are tons of books. Now, again, don't look at them like, oh, they're kids' books. These will help you. If you've never been about stuff like that, it will help you. Okay? So here, I'll do this. I'll drop. There you go. So that you don't make a fool of yourself, especially if you're a Christian, man. Okay? Sorry, guys. By the way, I'm noticing that there's a lot of people that are in the chat that I haven't really interacted with. I haven't seen you guys in the chat. And I know you guys are interacting with each other. Welcome. Thanks for being here. We are, what is it? 2 hours and 54 minutes into this stream, dude. It's almost 5 o'clock. It's nuts. Discerning Truth by Jason Lyle is also simple but good. Let's go up, Arnold. Let me drop the link for that, man. Like, if you guys have recommendations, I haven't read all the books that are in the world. Like, recommend books. Thank you for that, Arnold. Like, I might enjoy certain authors and I might read from those authors, and you guys might have other recommendations. There you go. Discerning Truth by Jason Lyle. Okay, the subtitle is Exposing Errors in Evolutionary Arguments. Okay. Now, again, that goes into, I'm looking at the contents, equivocation, begging the question begging, ad hominem, faulty appeal to authority, other fallacies, assorted examples. There's a lot of stuff out there. Did we buy this one too? What is this? An illustrated book of loaded language. Learn to hear what's left unsaid. Bad arguments. I think we have this too. Yeah, I think we have this one too. This is like a, I want to say we have this one. I'm not sure. But I think my son showed me this book and said he read it. Kids' books. There's a lot of good stuff out there. The more you guys read these books, the better you become at critical thinking, the less of a headache I will have. I'm being selfish. Well, correct, Jerome. You're right. But, here in the United States, philosophy doesn't get studied. And there's quite a, here's what's happening in the United States. Instead of teaching logic and math and philosophy, we prefer in the United States to teach children that they are not their own genders. And that we have to be nice to people who want to be called they and them and ze and they and them. Because if we study philosophy, we might recognize how fallacious those arguments are. what study materials and passages would you point to Don for helping him understand the Trinity? Look, again, like I said, there's quite a bit of books on the Trinity. I think James White's book on the Trinity is pretty good. The question is not books he needs to study on the Trinity, okay? You guys have to understand, because I think there's a deeper issue of the stuff that Don's going through, Carter, that keeps resurfacing itself on different doctrinal positions. The real issue is he doesn't know how to do hermeneutics. That's my opinion. And How to Read the Bible for All It's Worth is a really good book on biblical interpretation. He would do really, really well for himself to read that book. Oh, no, I dropped these gigantic books. Because I had to get this one from the bottom. Introduction to Biblical Interpretation. This is an older edition. There's newer editions of this book, and it comes with a workbook as well. And so I have a recommended books link in the description. You guys can go, and this book is recommended in there. And I've categorized it into different into different subjects. So I would say he needs to learn how to do hermeneutics well, and he doesn't know how to do hermeneutics. He also, I would say, doesn't know cultural background, historical setting, literary styles. And so because he doesn't know that stuff, and he says things like, well, I prayed and I asked God and I fasted, and then here's the conclusion I came to, without realizing that his reasoning is flawed and his hermeneutics is wrong, and he's coming to wrong conclusions on things. The problem is his hermeneutic. He needs to put effort and time into studying hermeneutics, because it's that is leading him to have, oh, now we got to keep the Mosaic law. Oh, now I don't believe in the Trinity. Oh, now no X, Y, and Z issue. Like, if there's secondary issues, we can have those secondary conversations. Trust me, I agree with him on, for example, on once saved, always saved. I agree with him. I don't think that's in the Bible, but not because I'm uncomfortable with it, or like I think done quite a bit of research on the subject, and not only on the subject, but I know how to do my hermeneutics properly so that I can argue for it from the text. Okay. Folks, I actually have a lot of editing to do today. I wasn't expecting on being on for 3 hours, but it's been fine. Again, if my zeal was too much, forgive me. Always out of love, out of a good place, out of care. That it's just passion. I will make myself available to the best of my abilities to any one of you guys who are in need of any of these things. If you guys are interested in those things, reach out to me, info@apologiacenter.com. You can become a supporter on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/apologiacenter. All the links are in the description below. If you want to support the work that we're doing, you can do that. I try to make myself as available as possible. And I should say that I'm running a Bible study for our patron supporters at any level, starting at $5 a month. I'm running a Bible study through the book of Ecclesiastes. But as we're doing that, and the people that are in the chat that are a part of those Bible studies will tell you this, as we're doing that, I'm teaching them how to study the Bible. So I'm teaching them how to do proper hermeneutics. So the point is actually to use that book to teach hermeneutics, and then also have a reflection on those on that book. The book of Ecclesiastes tends to be a more philosophically nuanced book. But if you're interested in that, you can become a patron, or if you just want to support the work we're doing, you can become a patron. We'd really appreciate it, and we'd connect with you. Remember, starting Monday, I'm going live at 2 p.m. 2 p.m., I'm going live Monday, I'll change all the stuff I need to change in regards to the timing when it comes to Twitch. And then also, if I have any graphics out there that have 1 p.m. on them, then I'll change that. 2 p.m. West Coast time, that's Pacific Standard Time, we will be live. Thank you guys for hanging out for these 3 hours. Appreciate it. And I will see you guys Monday. You guys have yourself a really good weekend. If you go to church, make sure you go to church on Sunday. If you don't go to church, you might want to visit a church on Sunday. If you're just not going to do that, then just have a really good Sunday. Rest and enjoy it. Take care, guys. God bless, and I will see you Monday.